Hi guys, just want to go over chapter 2. As you can see here, the one we're doing is a salary report, and this is something very similar to what when I used Excel a lot when I graduated college. I use what you see right here almost to the T. But what this one is doing is it's taking, if I hit Control and this button, you're going to see all the formulas on these tables right here. Okay, and what this is doing is got some simple math here, and this one is actually, you don't type as much. You type the headline or the title, subtitle, the category names, and then you just got to type in this simple right here, and the rest of it is simple. You put in the equation or the formula and you drag and drop rest of it in. But something here, so what you see here in the shaded, what that is doing is it's called a conditional formatting statement, meaning it's going to do something when the conditions are met. So in this case, it is probably for, when we look at conditional formatting, it is saying for anything greater than 70, we're going to fill in the cell to be this color and the font be that color. So what you'll see here, if I was to change this to be 69.999999, see, I went away to gray, but if I change that to be 70.01, now it changes. Okay, and that's the idea here, is that this one is doing some extra math, and it's, using formulas. It's doing extra things for us to help us stay organized and make us more efficient. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through kind of getting a setup, because there's a few things that are a little bit different than what we've been used to. So this one, like the merge and center, the shading, the font style, this right here, this is not actually two different cells. They do something within the cell to make it go underneath, and that's some stuff I'm going to quickly show you. Okay. All right, guys. So what I'm doing now, I'm just kind of start it open. You guys will add a new sheet at the bottom, and this will be just chapter 2 walkthrough. At this point, you should have 4 actually, the practice, chapter 1 walkthrough, and then the 2 in the labs. On mine, I just have what the example is going to look like. But what I did is I opened up my Excel book that you guys all are aware of, that we've been using, and I just took a screenshot of the page right here, Control Shift A, and what that did is, remember, it brings up this right here, and so I just have that over to the side, and I am now going to go through and just put my stuff in. And so like this one's going to be employee, dependent, and I'm just going back and forth. You guys can't see it because I got just one screen looked at, so you guys can see my one screen. But just remind you that I have another screen open where I'm getting my numbers. All right, so when you get to this cell where it says hours worked, so you're going to type the word hours, but if you hit enter, like we would normally do on Word to get to the line below, it sends you to the cell below. We don't want to do that. So what we want to hit is actually Alt and enter, and what it will do is it looks like it's going to the cell below, but it really isn't. It just went to the line below. And I know that because if I look right up here, that's what the cell is going to look like. So if I wanted to hit Alt and enter again, I can put something, Alt and enter. And so what that will do when I get done typing is, you notice it puts everything all in one cell. Okay? And actually I don't want to do that. It's going to drive me nuts if I don't take care of that. Alright. So that's how you would do the hours worked, and then the hourly, Alt enter, pay rate. It just goes like that. The next one is gross pay, federal tax, state tax, tax percentage, net pay, and then hire date. Okay, and now I'm going to go through here. I'm going to put all these names in. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to get to this so you guys can see that. But all I'm going to be typing in is actually just right here to here, and then the hire date. I'm going to do the hire date in all these. Okay. All right. So what you see here is kind of the aftermath of getting all of the, it's done, the typing. And so the next part is actually going to be putting some more numbers in. So what you see here is really all you're going to be typing. And there's a few things I've missed. Like I'm going to put total here, and then I'm going to put the word highest, lowest, and average. All right. And then that's it. Okay, so when you look at that, that's really all you're typing. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to actually merge and center. Merge and center. I like to get that done right away. Okay, just to help me keep my bearings straight. Okay, what I end up doing though is that I went to page 7 in my book, or on the ebook, and I got to this page right here. Okay, that was what I got to get the info. Okay, the next thing though you're going to get to is going to be page 9. So after I got what I have on your screen right now, is then we're ready for the formulas. Okay, and that's what you see right here on page 9. So we did all this other stuff. We got all the dates put in. We got the words lowest, highest, average, and total. The next thing though is going to be putting these formulas in. Okay, and what I actually did is I took a screenshot, Control-Shift-R, drew a box around that, made a copy, and then I'm just going to actually paste it right over here. And you see I have it up at the same time. Okay, so what we're going to be doing here is, whether you understand what these words are saying doesn't really matter. It's the idea that we're putting formulas in. What we worked on in chapter 1 was simple summing up, putting numbers, two rows together, hitting the auto sum button, and it does some addition. Now we got some funky math. Whether you understand the math does not matter. You're simply doing what it's called. And this is my favorite thing. It's taught in math class. That's called plug and chug. In this case, it really is truly plug and chug. So on this first one, gross pay, column E. So column E, gross pay, will be in this box, equals hours worked times hourly pay rate. You literally need to type everything you see here. Now the word hours worked, we don't type that. We actually would click the cell that it pertains to. So hours worked, I'm going to click on the hours worked. And then I'm going to hit the time sign. I'm going to put in hourly pay rate. Okay, so that will look like this. Equals hours worked, the time sign, pay rate. I'll hit enter. All right, I'm going to do the next one. Now some people think you got to do each one of these. You don't. I'm going to type all these in first and then drag it down and be done. So I'm typing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, and then I'm all said and done. This one is equals what it says here, 0.22 times, literally type in parentheses, gross pay. So I click on this previous cell, minus how many dependents, times 24.32. Now again, if you don't understand what that math says, not a big deal. So we hit enter. The next one, state tax. I'm going to go to that one. Equals 0.04 times my gross pay. Hit enter. Tax percentage, equal sign, left parentheses, federal tax plus my state tax, close my parentheses, divided by my gross pay. Now, whether you know what that math means, again, guys, does not matter. We are simply just doing what it tells us to do. And my last column here equals gross pay minus basically my taxes. So I'm just going to take this plus this, and there we go. Now, I did that for those. Now, I could go through and type these if I want to feel good about myself. I don't. I ain't doing that. That's doing too much. But what I did here is I clicked and I just dragged. Remember, we're not clicking and going to this little guy yet. We are just highlighting. So we're clicking and just dragging over and highlighting over. Now we go down that little box and we're going to fill down. So boom, right there. There is all of our numbers. Now these right here are going to be in percent form. Okay, and that's what the rest of the chapter is going to show you. These will be in dollars, which means I can't have that many pennies. I can have whole pennies, meaning this 0.34. Okay, and that in the book's going to show you is going to be messing with these. Okay, and the same thing with this. We're going to be messing with just having 2 decimal points. Oops. And you'll be doing all that continuing on in the chapter. Okay, the next thing I want to do is we're going to put the totals in. Now again, I showed you guys what I would do. You can do it multiple ways. You can highlight down to what we want to go and hit auto sum. I like to type it in, so equals sum, left parentheses, and then I highlight. I just like doing that. It's whatever is easy for a lot of you. So next one's going to be, we're not going to do the total for that. We're going to do total for this one. So we highlight down. Oh, type something in wrong. There we go. And then equals sum. Oh, I highlighted too far down. Equals sum. See, even I can screw up, guys. Alright. Okay, and then the next one here. Now this is the fun part. This is something new. What's another word we can use for highest? As you're thinking, hopefully you're thinking of the word, not biggest, but max. So that's what we're going to put. It's a new one. Equals max, left parentheses, and then we highlight what we want. Alright, for lowest, if you thought smallest, you're incorrect. It is going to be min. These are math words you guys should use in your math class. So we're going to highlight down. And then average, there's another word for average. We just put in average, left parentheses, and we highlight down. Now from here, guess what? Boom, highlight, drag all the way over. And then that is it. That is all she wrote in terms of this particular walkthrough. All right, so once we get done with our, our data per se here, the Excel sheets, what we're going to move on to next is actually making it look good. Okay, so ours looks like that. What comes next is looking like this. So what is kind of cool about the book is that it lets you know right away what stuff needs to go where. So like I'm going to be choosing a theme and a title, and it gives you how big the font should be. It tells you the color, the border, and all that. So if you understand what these things are, instead of rolling through the book, you can just simply look at this. Okay. And that's what's cool is, and this gets right here is something kind of new. It talks about the widths and heights of the columns. Okay, so column A through B, we want to be best fit. Okay, it means when we highlight these two, we want to just double click. That's best width. Okay, or fit. Where are we at next here? Column E, F, and I. So E, F, and I. We are going to make sure that the width is 10.5. So literally make sure we change these right here to be 10.5. Okay, and all these are 10.5. Okay, the next one is column G to be 10.25. So I'm going to make sure this one gets moved to 10.25. Here's our 10.25. Our next one, C, D, and H is 7.5. So highlight, click, I'm holding control, and I don't remember the number. It is 7.5. So I'm going to highlight, drag it down to 7.5. Maybe. There we go. Okay. And that's what's kind of cool is if you know what it's talking about, you can do that. So row 3 is 48. 27 in default, so 48, and then row 13 is 27. All right, got gum stuck in my teethers here, not chewing it. Get that moved, and there you go. Okay, now I recommend going through some other stuff right here, but like the workbook theme. So we're going to go to the page layout tab, click on themes, and we're going to be choosing basis. Okay, so page layout, themes, and look for basis. And there it is. Okay, and that will make sense for the other stuff that's on this list in terms of colors and all that. The lowest, highest, lowest, and average rows, they need to be bold, and the numbers need to be in cursive style with common styles. So we would highlight all these. Oops. We need to make sure that it is the comma style. Okay, and that's what that's for. And these will be percentages. And we'll need to increase the decimal points just like so. Okay, so, but what I want to quickly show you is some of the things I think you'll run into. But if you run through the 27 through 37, and then the second it cuts off for some odd reason, I think when you get down to applying the conditional formatting, that's where you're going to be doing something, and that's actually what I'm going to move to right now. All right, showing you what they mean by the conditional formatting. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is what's called conditional formatting. That means Excel do something when these conditions are met. Whether that's, hey, show me my bank account, flash 0 when I'm negative, or be blue when I'm over $1,000. We're telling Excel to do something when the Excel cells meet a certain condition. That's why it's called conditional formatting. Makes sense. So do this with me, but we're going to highlight C4 down to C12, and then we're going to go up to the Home tab, make sure we're in Home tab, go over here to what's called conditional formatting. Then we're going to go down and create a new rule. All right, and then the one we want to pick is click on Format Only Cells That Contain. So this one right here. And it's saying cell value, and what we need to do is we're going to change it to be greater than, and then we're going to tell what number. In this case, the book wants us to do greater than 70. Now it's saying when the cell values, meaning anything in these cells, the number meaning a value, is greater than 70, do something. Well, we haven't done anything yet, so we're going to go here to format, and I'm going to pick a different color than what they had. It doesn't really matter, guys, as long as you're doing it. We want the fill to be, let's go with this pink, and we want the font to be, let's make it, this whitish gray or a white, doesn't matter. We want it to be, go back to font, we want it to be bold, and we're going to hit OK. So here's what it'll look like. And I need to change that color. That color was terrible. That was a bad idea. All right, so that's what it's looking like. So again, I'm going to read it. Format only the cells with the cell number greater than 70, that right there. Hit OK. And what you should see is that these are highlighted pink and with the cell now text being white. Okay, and the rest of it I'm going to let you guys go via the book, but that is the bare bones of this cell right here, or this particular chapter. Chapter 1 was all about highlighting something and then using the AutoSum feature. Chapter 2, they really just springboard and do some other things. They use different functions. They do some different applying formatting. They include what's called conditional formatting and so forth. So I'm going to let you guys move on from here. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, when you're done, we're going to do what's called the in the lab. So I'm going to explain that again, the in the lab. So that's at the end of the chapter. Now I'm going to skip down here. So all these end of the chapter projects are not in the labs. They are their own names. These are apply your knowledges. I'm going to make them all plural. Extend your knowledges. Analyze, correct, improve is. And then in the labs, here's lab 1, and here is lab 2. Okay, now this one is my favorite one to do. So when you get to that, I'm gonna find out who's my cheaters and my pumpkin eaters, because a lot of people are going to get confused. So they type the numbers in. I come in here and I do one of these little numbers, and I see what you didn't do, what you just typed in. What did I type in? We'll have that. What I put a formula in will look like that. Okay, so that is that. If you need any help, you know to see this guy.